Alright, I'd like to say I have patience to clean this up, but I don't. I got in here the best I'm going to do it. There's still some dirt down in there. I've razor bladed these surfaces right there, clean this up best I could. I just don't have the patience for it today, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those two things out, screw them in there, and clean up that intake a little bit, and wipe this off one more last time, and start going in reverse, put this sucker back together. There's all the rags I used. I used the PB blaster to kind of, you know, this stuff is candy coated down in there. There you go, that's 150,000 miles of crud down in there. Let's go look at the intake some more. You know, to tell you the truth, I didn't think anything about how I was going to clean these plastic surfaces. So basically, you know, what are you going to do besides take a razor blade and try to clean those up without scratching this? And I can see that these things are, the injectors are, with all the goo stuck down in there, so I need to try to clean these up. I didn't think about that. All I thought about was cleaning up the head, but look at how that could be a potential problem besides this gasket. But you couldn't put that gasket, the new gasket, back on top of there. You gotta have two sealing surfaces, so I'm gonna have to spend some time cleaning all these up. So I figure I gotta make it at least look like that right there. Can't be all nasty like that. Okay, now this is a pretty tough job because I'm sitting here babyly scraping this off, and it's chunky, super chunky right here. And I can tell you that if you took this somewhere, ain't nobody gonna sit around here and scrape and clean this stuff up. The other side, I've already kind of done it, and you know, dig these out and clean them. They're just gonna tell you need new stuff. So I'm sure this manifold costs a couple $100 each injector. You know, so you're talking a big bill here. So if you can just be patient and clean this stuff yourself, hopefully you get a reseal on this intake and clean those up. And the injectors, I'm worried about those injectors being plugged for me messing with them now. And they get dirt down in there, and now they won't spray. But we just got to put it back together, and hopefully they will be able to get them out the other end. But got so much sticky stuff here, it's preventing them from pushing out. So I'm trying to clean that up a little bit. Here's the other sides, but got to clean them up a little better than that. Look at that little hole is blocking the hole. Maybe get a little pin and stick in that hole, or man, that just, I'm afraid I've plugged the hole from this side, and then it's going to restrict the pressure blowing it through. Okay, these were not in there tight. These were in there loose. You know, I don't know how old those are, but I can't imagine these have been replaced before, but they don't say no special number on them or anything, and it's a number 22, and they weren't in there tight at all. So I want to go crazy and put the new ones in there tight. So let's just go in and put the new ones in. Okay, these are Delco. I ordered them specifically for this truck. They definitely got different numbers on them. Assembled in Mexico. So maybe those got replaced, and you know, it was running bad since then. I can screw them in by hand. It's got the new wiring harness, so I'm going to put that down and go ahead and assemble this stuff. Okay, now these came out. They were really loose. When I tightened that up, I watched it. This one, when I'm tightening up on that casing, it's slipping on the body. So, to tell you the truth, I think that's a bad sensor. I don't like that it's spinning inside the casing. So that's gonna piss me off if I turn this on and this son of a gun throws a code saying that that sensor's bad, because I've spun this part, I've spun this thing inside that body. So I don't really know what's in there, but I'm not gonna try to tighten it anymore. I'm gonna leave that alone because I know it's gone a little bit, and it's not tightening in this. It's not tightening here. It's just free spinning on this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and just put the rest of it together and pray that's not a problem. All right, just snap those on and pushed them on. I sure hope that, you know, I don't like this system because there's no way to test that to make sure that they're working. I don't know how to test them. So let's just keep moving forward. They talk about putting silicone here and around here to keep the water out, but I just don't know if that's really necessary. I could put a little blob on there, then the next guy would know somebody's been in here and messed with it. Okay, I opted for these aluminum gaskets that I'm not real thrilled about, because basically you have to take a screwdriver and smash those things over those bolts. Now what's got to line up is these little niblets got to line up in that plastic intake manifold. See how these, they won't just go on there and hold. You have to take the screwdriver and smash them heads back in there. So it takes two hands. Kind of not feeling it, that's for sure. Definitely some risk to doing this. I took my screwdriver and actually pushed down on all four of these here to get this to settle out and kind of be square. Looks like it's lining up pretty good on these holes now. So that's about all I can do. Did the same thing here. Tried to push those down to, that one's not under there very good. There you go, that's a little better. And nice and solid. So let's try to wiggle that intake back in here and bolt it down. Okay, I've snugged all these up, but I noticed that they bottom out. So that's pretty tight. They're all bottoming out, so you know they're tight when they're snug like that. You can feel them bottom out. You don't want to strip those son of a guns out in that aluminum back there, so just snug them down. Okay, seems as simple as that. Snug all those up. I'm going to connect everything else up that I took apart. We have our new connector for this thing that just goes up here. So we're just gonna plug everything back in, put this bolt on, put the cover on, put the vacuum hoses and such all back where they need to go. So we're gonna do all that real quick, no biggie. Stuff all just goes simply back on here, easy as that. So let's just get all that stuff back on there real quick. And the hoses, I'll make sure these are tightened back up, and we'll cross our fingers, hope everything runs like it should. I was able to get this piece off right there. That is a release for, I had to just push it in, and that released this hose. That's a slip fit for the brake, so that's pretty easy to put back. Okay, literally took 5 minutes to clip all this back together. These, the injectors, the hose reels. This, we're missing something here, which I believe is this one. So we missed that one. We missed this one. And the one that I missed for sure was that one back there. Almost put the cover back on it. We got that one. We got the injectors. They just push back on and push those back on. We have that vacuum line, the vacuum line in the back. Now we can put this cover back on. Push these back over. Put the alternator back on and this air hose, and that is it, and the battery. So let's keep on going. But the thing that I wanted to show you was this one, because I almost missed that one back there because it was just laying loose on this wire. So that would have caused problems. When I installed this alternator, when I got it, it's always been a trying thing because these things don't want to line up. So it tries my patience. So you're going to have to tap on it with a hammer. I'm afraid I'm going to break something. We got to get that down on there. I'm going to try to screw this one in, make sure it's lined up. Crazy how hard that is to put in there. Okay, we got this one in. And I can see that one's a little off. It's got to come down in there. I just don't like hammering on this casing. There we go. I saw it move. Don't want to get all crazy with that. Mess up the threads on there. Just don't understand why they designed that to be so tough. Tough business. Hopefully that will thread in there without it messing up the threads. There we go. That's going to be in there, and I'll hook up those. Put that on there. We'll fire it up. Okay, small mess up. I forgot to slide these over, so that's going to be some work to freaking get in there and grab those and move them over. And I got to put the belt back on. Belt should be pretty simple. Didn't really even move it, so it should be easy to put back on and get it back on there. We're gonna need 2 hands. Okay, got the belt back on, got this back on. I did not put on the little quickie cover because I want to be able to kind of inspect it and look at it. I got the thing back hooked up. I did not put the radiator fluid back in it because I want to make sure if it throws a code, I don't want to have to take the fluid back out, even though that's not any big deal. So let me put a battery in here and we'll see if it throws any codes. Okay, everything back together. It does run better, but it's still not as good as I want it to be. I think these coil packs, I have the square coil packs, so I'm going to go buy 8 square coil packs. I think they're weak, and I don't think that they are producing enough spark, and that's what's making my lean knock. So I've only spent $100 to do the knock sensors and the gaskets. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy the kit. I think it's gonna be like another $100 for 8 of them, so that's like $200. I've already got new spark plugs. So I don't know what else to fix. It's not throwing any codes. It's not saying that it's doing anything wrong. So that's what I'm going to get next is the 8 coil packs. Alright, this time around it literally took 25 minutes to get everything disconnected. The only thing I have left are the bolts to take off the intake, and then we'll slide that out. I just pinched that off so it wouldn't flow out, and the other high side is up here, so that's not flowing out this time. The last time it took forever to drain. I thought I'd forgotten my fuel thing, but luckily I didn't take that back to the place where I store it. This was all, alternator was real easy to come off, and what that does is allow me to be able to slide this out of here. Allow me to, because you can't take this piece off and you can't take off the electrical, so you have to wiggle this through this if you don't want to take off your injectors, which I don't recommend pulling those injectors out. Just leave all that fuel stuff attached, especially if you don't have anything wrong with your injectors. This time I don't have to clean anything. It's got a brand new gasket, so let's hope that just lifts off without tearing it. So I'm going to get these off and get somebody to help me, and we'll pull that out. All right, it's now 10 o'clock, so it's taken an hour. This is the new one. It came with the, this is the Dorman part number. Came with the knock sensors and the new harness. And this new harness, you know, they talk about siliconing around this, but man, those are so tight. Those are like a perfect fit. I don't believe any water's getting in there. I guess some water could penetrate in there, but just not likely unless you just flooded your whole engine. The other thing that was, I had to hammer on those because those got stuck in there, so I had to get a chisel and actually, because basically this was just spinning free on top. So when I put the new ones in, I tried not to get carried away and tighten them down very tight, because one of these spun free when I installed them. Now, these were supposed to be the GM, whatever the GM brand is, the kit. So I'm half tempted to cut one of those open and see what's in there, but these were throwing a code immediately. So now what I want to test is, how do I test this to know that these are good before I cover this up and start it? I mean, there should be a way to test it. I saw them plugging in and kind of banging on these little sensors that were in there to show that they were actually working. But I don't know. I'd at least like to know that this is grounded or whatever it's got to be reading the correct ohms. So I'm going to look that up. Okay, bolt to bolt. Took 2 hours and 10 minutes. I probably wasted 30 minutes trying to figure out how to test. This is the connector for the knock sensors. Never could figure out how to test them, so I mean, for the 2 hours I just got to go with it, put it back on, and cross my fingers, hope it works. So now I'm going to turn the key on, make sure I have everything good. The other thing is, I kind of think I had a little bit of a vacuum leak right there, so I trimmed some of that off, made it a little shorter so it would have a better seal. I'm not sure if that would be a problem if it had a vacuum leak or a little bit of a leak. Anyhow, I'm going to turn it back on and test it. Still seems like it's got a shake to it. RPMs isn't very high. I guess 6, 7, but that's should be choke, should be working. And it feels shaky still, like it's just not getting very good fuel or something. We'll take it down the road, see if it still knocks. Get our code reader out.